Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Data Launch. We have been working on a Power BI dashboard to analyze the new motor vehicle sales in Canada. So we created a query from a CSV file, a data file, and we did some transformation and cleaning, and also partly created the visuals for the dashboard. Now in this video, we are going to do some final formatting and also do some DAX calculations to create and complete the visuals. So without further delay, let's get to it. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back everyone. Let's get to business. So we will start from where we left off in the last video. So we created the visuals and we were going to create additional visual elements. So we're going to do one more additional feature of Power BI, so that we want to display how the sales in last year look like on the same visual. Okay, so we want to compare 2 years of data. So if you select 2023, we will be comparing the data, comparing it with last year. All right, so for that, we are going to create or utilize the DAX measures. So I'm going to create a calculated field that shows whichever year you have selected in the slicer, you'll get the 1 year minus of that year. So previous year to that year that you have selected. So that's why. That for that we are going to create the measures. So it's not that hard once you get the hang of it, but I'll just show you how to do it. So here's what you're going to do. You go to modeling and you select new measure. Click on new measure. And you can see it. So it started a formula in the formula bar, and we have to complete it. So I'm going to call the measure that I'm going to create as sales bracket dollar underscore last year in short form, LY. So this will be a calculated measure. So you're going to use a function called calculate bracket, start the bracket, and it's asking for an expression to calculate. So we are going to sum up the sales numbers, sales dollars. So use expression sum, open a bracket, and so it automatically gives you different options from the table. So you can see that you can sum location, manufacturer. No, we don't want to sum those. Those are not the right field. So we can either choose the sales dollar or you can choose the sales units. So I'm going to choose the sales dollar. It automatically populates that part, and now use the closing bracket and you put a comma. Now you look at the expression. So the calculate function need an expression, and then there is an optional field to add a filter. So I need to add the filter so that I want to say that this expression or this measure needs to calculate the previous years, right? So we need to have a filter there. So I'm going to put a comma and use a function called DATEADD. So DATEADD filter lets you go back different intervals of date. So either you can choose a day, or you can choose a month, you can choose year. So all these options, and based on that you can select how much interval you're going to use. So first you're going to say the field that you're going to use as date. So the field that we are going to use as field is the ref date, right? The ref date, that's the date field that we have in the table. So that's the field. We have the dates and dot date. We need to use that dot date option, comma, and number of intervals. So the number of interval is -1. That because we are using the previous year as our result, right? So our reference year will be current year, and we need 1 year before this year. So I'll put -1, comma, and here you will enter year. Close that bracket, close the entire calculate function, enter, press the enter button, or just click outside somewhere. Your measure will be created on the vehicle sales. So that's how you create a measure. Now I'll show you the magic. So you just use the sum of sales dollar by month. So it was simply summing the total values in that column, sales dollar column, all the values, all the rows, and regardless of just based on the filter that you have applied here. So this one, on the other hand, it sums everything based on this filter. Once you but since we put that filter in the calculation of that measure, that will calculate that same thing with 1 year prior to the current year. So let's drag and drop this one into the same y-axis in the sales dollar. Voila! Look at that. Now you can see that both years' sales numbers are shown on the same visual. So you can see sum of sales dollar, that will be the current year, or year 2023. Sales dollar last year will be 2022's sales, and you can see that since we have data until the end of last year, we have all the months with data, but for this one we just have data until April, so we have that number. And now let's change this name to sales dollar, or you can just simply say current year, and you can say last year. And I'm just going to change this order of the two. So I want to so here's the thing. So last year acts like a reference. So I was kind of maybe it's an OCD thing, but I always prefer to have the last year shown first, and then show the current year, so that this is a reference. Then we can compare. Okay, this is this much. So we have a little bit better sales this year for the same month. So now we created that. I need to change the colors of the data bars, so data columns. So for that, again, go to the visual format visual, columns, select columns here. I can change the color. Maybe I'll choose a darker color for the last year. Let's just say dark color, and maybe a lighter color for this year. Not that one, anyway.
Or how about this one again? Maybe I'll use this one. All right. So change the visual here, the title of the this visual, and I'm going to change that to monthly sales I'm sorry, monthly sales dollar comparison last year. Now you know how to create a measure, right? So let's just create another measure that shows the sales units. So what you'll do is you can right click here on the table name, and you'll find different options here. You can create a new measure from here itself. You don't have to go over on the ribbon. You can do it that way, or you can again come here to the modeling ribbon and click on new measure. And gonna name it as sales units underscore last year equal to, again, use the calculate option. Calculate. The calculate function has this hidden function that is that with all the existing filters. So whenever you create a calculate, it is already understood that all the filters that are already in the visual will affect the measure that you're going to create. For example, you have the ear slicer here, so that ear slicer will automatically filter that measure to that ear. So it's not fixed to a particular fixed to calculate the total sales. It will get filtered based on the slicer or filter that you apply on your visual. So again, calculate sum of units, post that expression. I need to add the filter DATEADD opens. I need the ref date from the dot date, comma, -1, comma, year, close the brackets. Now you have the sales units. And I'm going to drag and drop the sales units to the visual for the sales units. Drag and drop it to the y-axis. Again, I'm going to reorder this. This will be, rename it last year. I'm going a little fast because we already did this same step with the sales dollars. So it's just the repetition. Last year, current year, and so here's another thing. I'm going to copy the format painter. Oops. I don't know, it didn't copy it, sorry. I need to select this visual first. So format painter. Not sure why it's not. Select the format painter. Okay, maybe I need to do it manually. So I'm going to go to format the visual. I'm just gonna go with darker color here. And use the maybe this color here. Now that looks better. And I'm going to change the dollar visual to a line chart. There we go. That looks much better. And so I kind of think that line chart is the right way to depict the dollar amounts, and the units should be shown as column chart, because that's something that has volume. That's something that you're going to sell, or units that has volume. So you it's kind of like counts. You usually use this depicted by column chart, and this is a dollar value. So the dollar value, I prefer representing that using the line chart. So now again, I need to apply the borders. So I'm going to go to the general, effects, and add visual border. Visual border on both of these. And that looks neat. And I'm going to add the border for this one as well. General, effects, visual border. This one also needs a visual border. Click on that. Visual border. Again, there are different ways that you can create your visuals. It all depends. You have to get creative on how you create the visuals. So you may be able to find much better way to visualize these metrics, but I'm just going to go with simple one this time. So that's why I'm not going to do anything fancy here. Just simple visuals. Just need to make it a little more neat with the arranging the visuals in the space properly. So if I press Control button and use the scroll button, scroll on my mouse, I can zoom in and zoom out of the screen. So here's the thing: when you zoom in or zoom out, sometimes when you zoom in, it will help you to move your visuals a little more efficiently. Otherwise, it may keep snapping to other visuals. So it may be you may find it difficult to scroll between those. So just zoomed in a little bit to make this visual stay in place properly. And another, okay, now I want to know what's the average sales for the year. So let's just say what was the average sales dollar for this year? I mean the average cost. I'm sorry, average cost of the car that is sold, car or a motor vehicle sold in a particular year. So for that, we're gonna have to divide the total sales by total units sold. So we are going to create another measure. So again, go to modeling, create new measure. All right, so average cost underscore add avg underscore cost per unit, or I can just say average cost per unit equals calculate. So what we'll do, sum of the vehicle sales dollar, close the bracket, wait, don't close the bracket or put comma there. Our calculation is not yet done. We'll put a slash here to divide sum of units, close the bracket. So now let's close the calculate, and we don't need to do any particular filtering here. We just want the ear slicer to affect the measure. That will affect anyway because we have already created a slicer here for the ear. So I'm going to click enter or click outside here. The measure will be created just like we created the other two measures. And you can see the measure here. So now I'm just going to copy this visual, paste it, and now I'm going to change it with average cost per unit. Excuse me. So now you can see that the average cost is 56.58K. So average cost for a vehicle sold was $56K in 2023. So let me rearrange this. There we go. It seems to be more central. And here's what I'm going to do. I need the average cost to be shown as dollar. So there should be a dollar sign over here. So for that, I'm going to excuse me. I'm going to click on average cost, select this symbol here. You can see the measure tools on top. Over there, you can see display the values in this column as currency. So I'm going to click that. So that will add a dollar sign over there. Same thing with the sales dollar. Click on the sales dollar here. Click on it over there and click on the dollar sign. There we go. So now we have a pretty good visual here. There's two more things left to do. We just need to have a filter filter for the vehicle type. So I know that the trucks are 3.23 billion. Sorry, trucks are 19.44 billion of out of the 22.67 billion were trucks, and 3.23 billion or 14.26% of this year's sales were passenger cars. But I want to look at all the rest of the data for each of these categories, right? So I want to see these data or these metrics for these individual categories. For that, I can add another filter over here. So for that, I will just add another slicer. Add a slicer here. Select vehicle type. drop it in that field. Now you can see passenger cars, trucks. Or do I need a different, how about origin of manufacture? As I said in the beginning, it shows Japan, North America, other countries. So it's up to you which slicer to use. So I can add more fields here in the slicer so that you get a drop down to slice to specific ones within those categories. So I think I'll just keep it to vehicle type right now. And I'm going to change this to slicer settings, make it a drop down. There we go. And let's just copy the format so that the heading format is changed. No, sorry, this is not the header title, that's why. So I'm going to turn off the slicer header and go to General, select Title. So that's the one we need to name as Ear. Now you can see that format has changed. Let's copy the same format, use the format painter, use the same format for vehicle type. I need to remove the header and change the title to vehicle type, vehicle type. There we go. And let's add a few more stuffs into our data. So we have we want to show a sales trend throughout the years. So let's just say whether it's linear, it looks like it's pretty linear to me. So but we still can represent that using a trend line. So to add that, you go here, the third option in the visualizations, add further analysis to your visual. Select that, create trend line. There you go. You can do different formats, but I'm just going to keep it this way for now. And what else we need to do? We need to give a header for our dashboard. I'm going to insert a text box here. So let me minimize this. So insert text box. You get the text box here like this. We'll change the size, and I'm going to fit this right here. New, change the header and create a header like this: new motor vehicle sales in Canada. And let me, which one to use? Maybe I'll just use calibri. Make it bold. You can change the size under in here, or let's just say this one. This one looks neat. And I'm going to change the font color to white. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the background color in the FX here, the right side. Change the background to darker color like this. And I'm going to do one more thing. So here you can see I don't like the um, letters text being more towards the top. I want to make it completely in the center of this visual. So go to properties. I'm going to go to padding, increase the padding on top. There we go. That's it. So we have created the dashboard, completed the dashboard, and this is completely interactive, and you can also filter them using these slicers, and also if you want to edit the slicer background or slicer color, you can do that as well. Or if you want to, if you prefer that the background of the entire sheet needs to be a different color, you can do that as well. So maybe let's just see, do that. Just click outside, don't select any visual, just click somewhere like a blank space here. And you can go to format page over here and go to canvas background. I'm going to add a small color or a different color maybe. Here the transparency is 100%. I need to change that. There we go. So we have our dashboard like this. So now, as you can see here, you can save it in Power BI file, as a Power BI file, and share it with anyone. But the thing is, this CSV file that we have queried it from your local system. So if you're sharing it with another person, they may have difficulty in getting the data, because the Power BI in his system will try to locate the file in their system, in their local system, but that will throw up an error. The visuals will show up as an error. So in that case, what you can do is you just save the file in a shareable location, or for example, like a SharePoint or a cloud data source, and you just query it from there. So in that way, you can share the Power BI, or you can share the Power BI into Power BI service. That's an again, that's an added feature of Microsoft, where you have to pay for the subscription. Usually organizations have that, and they will be the analysts will be able to share their created dashboard into the Power BI service, which is accessible to the other users in that company. So here, let's use the data filters to see how the vehicle sales look like over the years. You can see that in 2001, there was a total sales of 43.6 billion units. Sorry, $6 billion, and total units sold were 1.5 million, and the average cost was 29.1 million. Here you can see there's no other previous year because we just have data from 2001. And maybe let's see how the sales look like in 2010. So in 2010, we can see the sales units were 1.44 million, 46.88 billion units were sold. Average cost increased a little bit to $32.55 million. But let's just look at the recession year, 2008. 2008, look at that. You can see that there is a clear decrease towards the end of the year. You can, in the sales. Sales declined towards October, November, and December. And in 2009, you can see that the sales were down in January, February, March, April, and it's again picked up pace towards October by end of 2009. So once you finalize your dashboard, and if your manager asks you to provide him with details for a particular time period, sales analysis regarding a certain category of product or something like that, you can either share the dashboard, or you can also go through the data yourself and create a report using the dashboard and take a snapshot from the dashboard instead of sharing the entire dashboard with him. You can simply, for example, if you want to look at analyze the data in 2022, or you just want to share that particular year sales with your manager, you just select that year, and what you can do is just go to File and save that, or export that to a PDF file. So if you export to PDF, it will automatically generate a PDF using these visuals. And also, there you can see, this is the final dashboard that we created, and we can just simply share this with the manager or leadership team, whoever requested for the project. So that's another way to share this. Or you can also embed this Power BI dashboard in SharePoint. And one final thing we need to do is I usually create or keep a date when it was updated, or when the dashboard was updated, or the latest data, that the date up to which the data is available, so that it will give us a good reference, the person who is looking at the data, a good reference of how updated is the data. So you can put a date field here. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a card visual, put it right here. And we're going to create a measure, just like we created the other ones. Go to modeling, new measure. What we will do is we'll name that as last updated, equal to what I'm going to do is use a function called max of the ref date. So you can see when I typed ref, it automatically shows up. So I'm just going to click the tab, ref date dot date, close the bracket, enter. So you can see here a new measure is created. I'm going to drag and drop it into the visual. I need to minimize the size of it, so it will be properly shown. Category label, callout value, that should be maybe 12, 13. Yeah, there we go. 12. And I don't need the time. It should be just the date. So we'll just change the data type of the measure. So click on the measure here and go to the top and change the format under the measure tools. Change it to short date. So now you have a reference here that says, okay, this the data in this dashboard is was updated last on. So here's a mistake. Here it shows 12/31, and that's not the date we need, because it doesn't show the actual last date. It just shows the last date of that year. So for that, I'm gonna change it to just give me a minute. Ref date, change that, change the measure like this, calculate. There we go. So now you see that it just need that calculate before the function to have that filters applied. Otherwise, it will just give you the maximum of the whole table, whole year. So that's why I had to put that calculate measure. So now we know that latest data is available until 4/1/2023. Maybe I can just I don't know if this makes any difference if I use the format painter, but I'll get the border to that visual. So that's it. I know this is not the exact same copy of the dashboard I showed in the first video, but it's pretty much the same. Everything in here, all the metrics, and it's just the layout is a little bit different, and maybe the color coding and the font I have used. But you can just play around with the fonts and the visuals. It all depends on the person who is building the dashboard and the kind of creativity he has into the dashboard. So and also it's not just about how visually attractive you make it. It's about the data that you're going to present it to the stakeholder. So you have to make sure that you are showing the important data points and metrics in the dashboard, and they are clearly visible, and that conveys the information or the insight that you want to share. So it's not just about the visual. So that's it, folks. I hope this was helpful for you, and you got pretty good hand on working with Power BI. I really wanted to do it in a short video, maybe in half an hour, but we covered quite a bit of topics and features in Power BI in this project. So I think it turned out pretty good. So just let me know your thoughts and questions in the comments, or if you have any feedback or suggestion, just let me know. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.